I just picked up this 2003 Ford Ranger for only $1,500. And that's because it was listed as a mechanic special with an estimate of over $4,000 in repairs. We already fixed everything that was on that estimate, but we did find some hidden issues while we were digging in there. So in today's episode, we're gonna fix the last remaining issues on the Ford Ranger and hopefully flip it for some profit. You already know what it is, baby. I'm Macho, this is Macho Motors. Let's jump straight into it. To be honest with you guys, the Ford Ranger is a little bit near and dear to my heart because it was the first truck that I've ever purchased. That one was only for $800 and it was sitting for like 4 years. After little maintenance, it was running and driving perfectly. So after you guys been requesting some truck content, I went out and found my own Ford Ranger to flip for some profit. I found this baby on Facebook Marketplace listed as a mechanic special, and I can hear every creak and bump and everything. So I knew there was a little bit of wiggle room on that price. After landing it for $1,500, we dove straight in, fixed all the issues, and now we're here today. We are now the new owners of a 2000 and something Ford Ranger, which we only paid $1,500 for. And it runs and drives, and no check engine light. Oh, what a steal. We're in the process of loading her up. Right now, I don't have a tripod or anything, so I'll catch you guys once she's all hooked up. Dang, and it looks like that oil leak might be a little worse than I thought. A little rainbow here. We got everything hooked up, but the most important thing, whenever you're towing a car like this, where the rear wheels are up and the front wheels are down, you wanna make sure that you put the seatbelt in through the steering wheel. So something like this, and then you're gonna want to push the seat as far back to create some tension in that steering wheel, so this doesn't move. It's starting to rain hard, so let's get the truck home. We got old beauty back home, so let's pull her into the driveway and see exactly what we found. I just pulled it into the driveway and that leak is super bad, way worse than I thought. We need to address that like immediately.
The next day.
Finally time to start working on the Ford Ranger. Parked it here until we're ready to work on it, and I had a piece of cardboard underneath it, but unfortunately this cardboard is completely clean, meaning that it's either an old leak or a very slow leak. Let's hope that it's an old leak. That doesn't really make sense because we saw that huge pool of like rainbow fluid when we moved the car. So I was thinking maybe it's when the car is driving and moving. So I moved it to our usual working area, and that's when all that rainbow goodness started to happen again, which is a really good sign because I don't think it's coming from the car. I think it's actually coming from the bed. The bed has all this dirt and debris and oil and fluids. So when it rained in here, all of that water started to wash off the outer layers of dirt and oil that's stuck on, like, for example, this bottle right here is just caked on. I think as soon as we moved the car, all of that started to spill out of the bed, just like how we're seeing again. Which is great news for us because I thought we had an absolutely massive leak. Now that gives me a little bit more hope for fixing this thing up. And I think I'm gonna start on something that I don't usually do, and that's cleaning out the bed. Previous owner told me that there's tons of tools in here that they just left and I can just keep it. I think we can recoup some of our money by just selling this toolbox. So let's clean out the bed first and see what goodies is hiding inside this toolbox. I always wanted an extra jack. Hopefully we can find the handle. So out of all of that stuff, all I really got was half a can of PB Blaster and 2 brand new cans of brake cleaner and a full bottle of automatic transmission fluid. And first look of our toolbox filled with tools, allegedly. Some really old school tools here, which honestly a lot of this will probably just get thrown out, unfortunately. Let me take some of this stuff out and see what we really got. It took a while, but we finally have the toolbox completely empty. There's tons and tons of stuff inside the toolbox. Some of the key things here were these power tools, 3 toolboxes and a tool bag, tons of screwdrivers, hammers, pliers, anything in that category. And I also found the stick for the jack, and the jack actually works. So now we have a spare jack. Even though it's not the sturdiest thing, I think it's just nice to have another backup underneath the car with you. And 2 other things that I found in here, which I'm definitely keeping, is our very own big old can of Ford Ranger grease. And another thing I'm super excited for is color match paint to this Ford Ranger at a dark Highland green. I'm hoping it still sounds good in here, so I'm hoping that it is still good. They bought it 2 years ago, so even if we could touch up just a few spots, that'll come in super handy. Our big ticket item is that toolbox. We're gonna take pictures now, put that thing up for sale, and remove it from the bed and start cleaning the entire bed, so that way we have a fresh looking 70,000 mile Ford Ranger. Look at that, we got some free jack stands. I think next step for us is cleaning out this super oily truck bed. I'm gonna try to get as many leaves out first, and then we'll just pressure wash this whole thing. I am not looking forward to this because I know this is just going to be a very oily, nasty mess. Great news, after being on the market for just a week, we were able to sell the toolbox for 140 bucks. When I first picked up this truck, the interior was completely cooked. The Ford Ranger interior would stay a lot cleaner if they just had 3W's premium quality custom fit floor mat. This thing, fresh out the box, is completely odorless. There's no smell, no adhesive, no crazy chemicals like those cheap floor mats. Completely adhesive free and made up of Thorax material, which is completely eco-friendly and safe for the environment and your health. And these mats can really take a beating no matter what you're throwing at it. Obviously, this is a little bit extreme, but through everyday use, it has no issue. In extreme use, it's still very durable. Even through all the abuse, it is super easy to clean up. All I'm using here is just a regular garden hose, no special chemicals, no cleaning solutions. Without even wiping it or giving it a deep, thorough brush, the mat is already 80 to 90% back to its original form. And install is super easy. All it takes is removing your old floor mats, cleaning out your car, and installing the custom fit 3W floor mats. And upgrading your interior from this to this. So hook up your daily driver with the love it deserves with some premium quality custom fit 3W floor mat. And be sure to use my code MACHOMOTORS for 33% off your entire order. Link will be in the description as always. Now let's finish fixing up that Ford Ranger, boys. So I created this little checklist for us to hopefully get to our end goal of making that shmoney. Starting with cleaning out the bed, we just did that. It is looking beautiful, so we're gonna check that off. And now there's a small issue with the battery, so let's go find out. Even after the new battery, it's still having a little bit of hesitation starting. And when I was working on the fuel filter, I did find this here little broken ground strap. I'm sure it's not the main issue, but it's sure it ain't gonna help. So I have this beautiful brand new ground strap that I've had forever just sitting in my garage, so I'm happy to put my hoarding skills to use. All right, this should take no time at all. Right here you can see the old worn out ground strap, which is actually in 3 pieces now, and the nice new shiny one. This one's a little bit too long, but at the end of the day this one was free, so I'm not complaining. A few seconds of work, we have a brand new ground strap. Yes, it's extra long, but it should work. All right, now with that battery issue fixed, nice and easy, free fix. We're gonna move over to fixing up what's wrong with that tire. Next, we're gonna address the mismatching rims. Honestly, it doesn't look terrible because I don't really notice it too often. Obviously, we need matching wheels to make this look as good as we possibly can be. And luckily for us, we do have the OEM tire here. For some reason, every time I fill it up, it just completely goes flat within an hour. The tread on this thing looks phenomenal, but I think it's because there's so much hidden dry rot in between the tires that it's never, ever gonna hold any air. Just like how you see right there, is just no chance at all. Not that we want it to, it's just, I believe that's where it's coming from. So let's head over to my local tire shop and see if they can hook me up. So I walked between 6 different tire shops. These guys are the only ones that said, hey, your tire doesn't look bad. Yeah, it's a little cracking, but it doesn't look bad. They checked it, and turns out that the rim is actually rusted. For their time, I pay them 10 bucks because they're the only tire shop that actually checked. The other ones were just ready to slap a new tire on and just send me on my way. Saved me about 60 bucks, but unfortunately, we're just gonna have to keep the rim like that unless I find a great deal on Facebook, but I doubt it. So this rim is pretty much junk, unfortunately. I might keep the tire just as a emergency spare, but there's no point in keeping this inside the bed any longer. Unfortunately, if I don't find a wheel in time, it's just gonna have to stay like that. So we were not able to fix the tire. I think the mismatching rims gives it a little bit of character, so that's okay. I just realized I never showed you guys the after of when we installed the wheel bearing. So here was the before. There's no clicking, there's no noise like it was before. And now the motion is coming just from the suspension. There's no play in the actual wheel itself. Now it's time to take it off to get what we're really looking for. Brand new brakes looking beautiful, but we're looking right here for this sway bar end link. Absolutely chewed up. They didn't have it on the invoice, so we're gonna repair it now. Just comparing here now, I wanna make sure that everything lines up, and it looks like it is the correct size compared to the old one. I bought brand new impacts after last video, and it's spinning from the bottom. So I don't feel like using brain power to figure out why the sway bar end link won't come out, so I'm gonna just use old reliable. After several minutes of cutting, I think we finally have it somewhat loose. But then still, this bottom part is still stuck on. This isn't making much sense to me. Typically, it's supposed to just all come apart, but it's not doing that. All right, next old reliable. Might have jumped the gun with cutting it, not gonna lie. Yeah, somehow all of this is just seized together, it's crazy. I ended up having to grind it down from the washer, and then that eventually made it pop out. I have no idea why this was so seized on there, but it came out, which is good. If you live in a non-rusty state, this is probably a 10-minute job. Right now, we're probably like 30 minutes in. Let's finally finish this. Should only take 5 more minutes. Starting with the bolt, washer, and bushing here. We're gonna get the bottom bushing, the bottom washer, and then we're gonna go on with this like sheath. Now go in with the bottom top washer and bottom top bushing. A few little love taps to help it get in place. Maybe a love push. And lastly, the bottom washer and bottom nut. I'm just tightening up the nut from the bottom. That took way longer than expected, but we have the new sway bar end link in. Now we just gotta do the other side. And passenger side, done. Just know, passenger side was equally as bad. Oh my goodness. I gotta head to work. I'm about to be late. At least I got the truck to take me there. We struggled once again fixing that sway bar end link. Happy it's done, and I actually do feel a difference whenever I'm taking turns. It's not as squishy, not as boaty, so definitely worth the, I think, $16 we spent on fixing that. All right, now it's time for our next and hopefully last item on the list. Ford Ranger window goes down, but it does not come up. So we gotta give it a little shimmy, a little pull. Come on. And I think it's actually stuck now. Before it used to go up, but I think we just broke it. We shimmied too hard. All right, so now we definitely have to fix it. Starting with removing screw number 1, 2, and number 3 down here. From there, we can now get to removing this part of the handle, just like that. And then we just have a couple connectors holding this on. Or we could just let this dangle, why not? All right, good. Okay, next, just this sound barrier, which I think is just a nice little tug off. And now there should be plenty of enough room for us to get to our main focus, and that is this right here. These bolts here are a one-time use. There's no bolt in the back here. It's just pretty much a riv knot. As most of you guys already know, we're gonna bring out old reliable. Oh, we got one. We got one. Nice. Is it hot? Oh, yes it is. That took crazy long, but we finally have both bolts out, and now this window should be, yep, completely disconnected from the doors. We're gonna roll this puppy up, tape it up to the top, and get to the actual window regulator, which is this really rusty piece right there. Oh my goodness, I thought I just broke the window. I was gonna say, of course right now it starts to rain while I'm trying to tape up the window. Every piece matters. I'm calling that good-ish enough. All right, finally stopped raining, but we have even more riv nuts to get through. More grinding, more punching, more pain.
One eternity later.
As you can see, one of these took a little bit longer than the other, but we finally got them all out. Hopefully this hole still works. If not, there's still gonna be 3 others holding it down, so it should be all right. We just have 2 more bolts, this one here and one underneath to take off, and then everything should come out. Both bolts out, and I see that the window fell again, unfortunately. Half of the regulator is out. Took way more work than I was honestly expecting, but here is the old rusted, dusty window regulator, and here is the brand new one. They gave me new riv nuts for it, but unfortunately, I don't have a riv nut gun. We're gonna have to find some hardware to put this back together. It is obviously much later in the day now, but we do have a window that rolls down all the way smoothly and rolls all the way back up. This is a job well done, but it's getting late. I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow. All right, we got everything bolted down. I even got this 4th bolt down here. So now it's just about putting everything back together. Starting with the vapor barrier. Now I think we need the door panel. And I will say, not taking off this clip was definitely the move there. Make sure that this bottom screw here works. If this one works, then we got everything lined up. And we're going in. So we are golden. I didn't realize what time it was, so I had to run to work. So we're at a different scenery, and we're gonna finish up this door panel. Not much left for us to do besides this connector here. Make sure we line this up all nicely. Good, 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 good. And last but not least, the last 2 screws going in. Finally done. This is definitely not a job I recommend. Would I do this again? If I have to. If the window was like that on my car, I would probably just leave it and suffer until it's ready, because that was terrible. But one last look, window goes down super quickly and goes up a little rocky, but works fine. And after 2 days of struggling, we do have the window finally fixed and working. That was a huge struggle, but I'm happy that's over. Now we're gonna go ahead and daily drive the car for a while and just see how it's riding with everything that we've done so far. This is the first test drive after everything we've done. New suspension, new brakes, new wheel bearing, new coolant, new oil. And I'm so excited to see how this thing rides, because I didn't think it ride bad before, but it should ride a whole lot better now. Car right now is just driving so smoothly. It's braking smoothly. Everything just feels so much tighter on the car. Also, the power steering feels a lot better, to be honest. I didn't realize how bad it was before, but it definitely is a lot better now. It feels like we've been on such a journey with this car. It's kind of crazy how far we've got it in such a short period of time. Now it's just time to see if all this work was even worth it. After driving it for over a month, I have found no other issues with the truck. It is absolutely amazing. And if I had the space and the necessity for it, I would definitely keep it as a daily driver. I got plenty of cars. I really don't need it. Down to the final step, and that is making the truck look as good as it drives. So let's get to it. Now that we have checked off that there's no other mechanical issues, last thing is to clean old girl. When I first got it, I completely detailed the interior, but I've been doing a lot of running around, and I'm usually not a messy person when it comes to my cars, but this is just getting a little out of hand. So, little montage. And now that is looking way better than what it once was. It's not complete. Obviously the floor is still dirty. Everything is still a little dirty. This is good enough for us to get to the next step. While you guys enjoy me give this Ford Ranger a bubble bath, I'm gonna go ahead into my favorite part, and that is the price breakdown. As you guys already know, we paid $1,500 for this truck, and after all the dealership repairs, we paid a total of $1,836. Luckily, we were able to sell that toolbox, giving us $140 back. Spent $10 for the tire diagnosis, $45 for that annoying window regulator, the rusty sway bar end link was $16, and that battery cable was $0, leaving our grand total all in for a 2003 Ford Ranger with 78,000 miles at $1,767. There's still tons and tons of imperfections throughout the body, like here, most definitely here. That's a bad one. And all along this door here. And this paint is over 20 years old. I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I'm not even expecting it to shine that brightly, to be honest with you. But hopefully you remember what I said earlier in the video. Super excited for it is color match paint to this Ford Ranger. So now it's time to finally check out if this touch-up paint is any good. It still sounds good, so let's see. Oh, that is a very promising sign there, boys. Ooh! And I think this is a nice little test spot to try it out. Paint looks good. It looks a lot better than what it once was. Obviously not perfect, but a lot better. Ooh, that was a lot of work, but now I finally present to you the fully restored, daily drivable Ford Ranger. Honestly, I've really enjoyed working on the Ford Ranger. It just reminds me how easy old technology was, because doing things like struts and sway bar end links and things like that you can get done in like an hour just felt so satisfying, so enjoyable, versus now I feel like it takes hours just to change out a battery or do some simple repairs. With the all-in cost of $1,776, I see Ford Rangers in my neighborhood with way higher mileage going for $4,000 or $5,000. So I think for this puppy, we're gonna list her up for $5,000, hope for the best, maybe land at 4 or 5, and that would be a potential profit of $3,233. Not bad, not bad. We did tons of work to it. We sure did have fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you for the next Macho Motor video. Peace.